Efficient window. It has color built right into it, or you can have like an all vinyl window, which those two young ladies are spinning over there. And windows are really important because that's a huge place where heat loss is lost. Now, because we've made the house so tight, remember the cause and the effect that I was telling you about? We need to make sure that the occupants stay alive in the house. Okay, all right, they can be your neighbor. The way we do it is with what's called a HRV system, a heat recovery ventilation. Remember, you've paid to heat up all this air inside the house. And what there is got to be some way to have cold, fresh air come into that house and get this warm, dirty air outside the house. So it's like a little radiator type system where you have vents in the walls or the ceilings. And it actually has this box type unit where there's a couple fans where it's actually sucking some of the cold, fresh air from outside, and it's sucking some of the warm, dirty air from inside, and they're actually bypassing each other through a gradient, which actually has cold air passing the warm air, and warm air is always trying to go towards cold air. So you got the warm air, it's actually going to heat up some of this cold air, and then this warm, fresh air is now going to be dumped into the house, and this warm, dirty air, it's now going to be cooler, it's going to be dumped outside the house. So it's a way to reclaim some of the heat that you've paid for in the house, and keep the occupants alive and healthy with good indoor air quality. So again, cause and effect.
So can I interrupt for a second?
Yep.
So can anybody just say what Brian just said to you? He explained? Yeah, go ahead, Nikki.
Well, he explained how
Yeah, what was that device that he just talked about?
Oh, I don't remember what it's called. I just remember what it did.
What does it do?
It brings cold, fresh air, like, in towards the house, and hot, dirty air out, and it, like, bypasses, and the warm air warms up the cold air, and then the cold air, like, cools down the old warm air, and they kind of, like, switch.
Right. Yep. Fresh air in, and it saves some of the heat that was in the house.
Any other questions about that? So it goes back to cause and effect. Just because you make your house more airtight, better insulation, you got to make sure that what's that going to cause for ripple effects down the road. Well, an HRV is what you have to do now to get that air circulating in the house.
So that's motor driven, it's got a fan on it, and
Yep.
how long would it take to change the volume of the house then?
You should be exchanging the house every 2 or 3 times an hour.
So you got to heat all that air up 2 or 3 times an
Yep.
hour.
Yep. Most houses, when you do this blower door test,
Yeah.
most houses that will score 130 or so, they might have what's called an air changes per hour.
Yep.
It might be like 7.
Wow.
So 7 air
Yep.
changes per hour.
Yep.
That's the average, and that used to be considered good.
Wow.
Where building code is now driving it, right now it's right around 5. It's headed towards 3.
Right.
And as far as like the passive house, where it was only $497 for a year, it was 0.4 air changes per hour. So that's really tight. That's like
But you don't want
Ziploc
to
bag
get it too
tight.
tight, otherwise you wind up with, you know, all that dirty air inside.
Then you introduce the HRV system into it, and the HRV system will
Okay,
make
that
it
was
up.
without the
That's
HRV
with the
system.
HRV
Okay,
system.
got it.
Yeah, with the HRV system,
Right.
you're able to bring that back up
Got it.
around 5, 4 or 5, depending on the system.
So in a passive house, that's what they have, like 5 air changes an hour?
Well, it will vary based on the system that goes in, but But
But
yeah,
is
you
that what
want-
they're striving for?
You're striving for a minimum of 3.
I see. Okay.
So.
And are those hanging things? Are those the HRVs?
Yeah, those hanging things over there on the wall are actually the HRV system and what they actually look like. It doesn't really look like a whole lot.
What? No, I want to do this.
All that,
It actually hangs in the basement
and it's vented outside.
and it's vented outside and inside. So what you were explaining, how they bypass, this is what they bypass through. You got air going this way and air going this way through like this honeycomb type structure, and it actually makes the heat exchange inside of it. Then there's also a filter, a HEPA filter. So in houses that have HRVs, if you run it year-round, you'll actually have cleaner air inside the house than your neighbor who opens up his windows and just lets air blow through his windows in the summer months because of it. So anyway, this is a quick picture here of what that passive house was. And that's all you need to heat it. Just the heat given off by the light bulbs. The constant temperature of that house? It maintains 70 really easy. Because what it does is it's taking in the sunlight during the day. And remember, we built the thermos that's super insulated with an R60, R64 wall, so it's really thick. It's not going to dissipate that heat out. And then we give off heat. You know, at rest, people give off 350 BTUs per hour.
So we could like have a really big TV and that could heat our house.
Yeah. Yep. You'd need one probably in every room, but anyway. We've actually had some people call us up in the summer months and say, I watch TV and my house, it seems like it heats up in the evening in my living room. I don't like it. There's something wrong with the house. Well, that's where we have to say, look.
That's when you're watching too much TV.
That's when we say, look, you're giving off 350 BTUs. Your TV, you know, is giving off an awful lot of heat as well, and that's what's heating the room up. So that's why you're experiencing that. So, yeah, just because what one person thinks that's happening really is, if it's not backed up with the science, you know, it's just a hypothesis. All right, well.